the Art Box Podcast, where creativity lives, but more importantly, where stories are told. I'm your host, Steve, and here we believe every piece of art carries a story, and every artist has one worth sharing. From theater and song to archaeology and to our public lands, we explore the many ways creativity shows up in the world around us. Because I'm always happy to view a work of art, but I'm never fully satisfied until I've heard the story behind it. That's what we're all about, unpacking the journeys, the moments, the people, and the meaning that bring art to life. So whether you're an artist, a storyteller, or simply curious, pull up a chair. Let's open the box.
Oh, effortlessly beautiful. That's Venus and being you.
Josh, welcome to the Art Box.
Thank you.
And we're at Mad Red Bookstore.
Yes, sir.
You and I have something in common. We were both born in Washington, D.C.
Yes, sir. That we were. Go Redskins.
Yeah, there's no more Redskins, but yeah, go Redskins. So I always found it was interesting. They would say, when you're renting a car and things, before everything's automated now, is, what state are you from? And I wasn't born in a state.
It's a district, man. It's the same thing whenever I have to fill out any sort of form with my personal information. State, Washington, D.C. It's not a state.
You grew up in Virginia. We just crossed the line to be born and then retreated to the burbs.
Yep.
You said both your parents were passionate readers. What role did books play in your childhood?
Yeah, so when I was growing up in Virginia, my dad owned a business. Both of them, before he owned his business, worked for the government, so they were very heavy into reading all sorts of literature and material. And I just always grew up around literature. My mom majored in Russian before she worked for the government. Obviously, it was a Cold War period. So a lot of Russian lit that I grew up with, and they just always kind of fed me books. So I just ended up reading a whole lot when I was a kid.
Describe Josh when he was 8 years old.
Before the trouble. That was when I was happy-go-lucky kid.
Well, 8 years old, we were.
I
don't know about you, but I was a pretty nice kid at 8 years old.
I was nice. One of my early memories is there was a kid in a elementary school who was getting bullied by another kid, and so I got in a fight with the bully, and then of course went to the principal's office. And my mom comes in and picks me up, and she takes me out of the principal's office to take me home. She goes, "Josh, do that as many times as you want. I'll always pick you up." So I was a good kid, Back then, obviously no cell phone, stuff like that. So play outside, have fun, run around a lot. Read a lot of Goosebumps. I love those old books back then. A lot of the Choose Your Own Adventures at that point in time. I got into that type of stuff pretty heavy.
Did you go to the library?
Every now and then, yes. Not a whole lot. Honestly, I didn't do a whole lot of library. We kind of were tucked back into a cul-de-sac in this community. So to get my bike to the library, up and down hills and snow and rain for 3 hours to get anywhere, it wasn't that long, but I really just had a lot of books at the house that I went through.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I love the library. Although I was just there yesterday for a while. I was telling somebody the other day, I have never checked a book out of our library in Mesquite, which we have a fabulous library.
Very nice.
I go there. We used to record the podcast there. Yeah. I go there. We have the best restaurant in town is there, Table of Contents, which is in the library. Very nice. So I go to the library a lot, but I feel bad that I've never checked the book out. But I like to have a book in my hand, and then I like to put it on my shelf.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I got to have the book in my hand. I can't do e-reading at all. When I was that age, 8 to 11 probably, I was reading a lot. But, my sister was a few years older than me too, so I just kind of snatched books from her. So I also ended up reading more, I wouldn't say adult literature, but heavier literature when I was at a very young age, for sure. I was into Tolstoy, Dostoevsky, and a bunch of that Russian lit pretty early on just because of my mother. And then it even expanded into, a big part of my background has to do with political writing. So my mother worked for the government. One of the 60s radical groups was the Weathermen. So she had a book on the Weathermen. It was one of the earliest books that I ever really, really remember reading 100 times. And I started reading that very early. They did a lot of expanding at my house.
Is there one book or one particular author that really set you on your way?
It's the Alien series. Yeah, I don't know if you remember that. Back in the day, they had books that were based off of the Alien versus Predator and the Alien movies. Okay. And I got one of those. I must have been 10, maybe 11. And I fired through that whole series in 3 days. Just reading.
Yeah.
And that's really, when I think back, that was the first time I really dove into reading very, very, very heavily and just couldn't put the books down.
So I like it that your dad said this. God, I love your dad. It doesn't matter what time you go to bed. All that matters is what time the office opens. And I was a person, in my 30-year career with AT&T, I missed 2 days. That was it. I was always excited to go to the office. I love what I did. Do you want to talk about that philosophy and how it's shaped how you run your business?
Yeah, so, he tells this story one time when he was working for the government, and they would the agents out when he was overseas and mess around with the agents. So you're in Southeast Asia, you're in your 20s, it's the late 60s. What are you going to do? You're going to go have some fun. So my dad and his friends are out there. The older agents go, hey, have a good night. 6 a.m., we got work. I don't give a shit what you do, excuse my language, but make sure you're there. So at the end of the day, you show up. It doesn't matter how you feel. I think similar to him, I think maybe he missed 2 days. I never saw my father sick, ever. It didn't matter if you were tired, exhausted, you go, you get up.
Well, I didn't say I wasn't sick, but I went.
But you go. It doesn't matter. You go. You show up. You show up and you get what you got to get done. What he always said is, I don't want it is for babies. And he started saying that to me when I was like 9.
Yeah,
I'm like, come on, man.
You're indoctrinated.
I tell you, dude. Very, very intelligent, but a little bit cold of a person. But very, very intelligent man. So no matter what, I show up. When we opened up, I did 72 days in a row before I had a single day off. And that was after doing probably about 2 months to 3 months straight. But that was at our warehouse.
Yeah.
I'm here almost 7 days a week. My 1 day off, I'm 9 times out of 10 working on emails, taking care of stuff. I don't want to do it, but it has to be done. So.
Right.
So it allows us really to tackle all our problems head on. Something pops up, we're here to deal with it.
You like coming to work.
I love it.
Okay.
I love it. Yeah, if I had a big enough space, I'd put a cot in the back.
Okay.
I have a pit bull. He's a little bit old and senile, so I would love to have him in here with me every day. I put in almost 60 to 80 hours a week in the store.
Yeah.
It's fun. I mean, at the end of the day, what I always say to myself is on my worst days, I'm working with books. I mean, that's not that bad a job.
Yeah, I think that'll have to be the title of the podcast.
The worst day, it's handling books, I can deal with everything else, all the other bullshit, because at the end of the day, I can sit down and crack a book open and read, or I just look around the store and kind of see how far we've come to.
People claim that they don't read books anymore, yet you said 11,000 books. What are people missing who don't pick? I mean, I know what they're missing, but
there's what is that? A person who reads lives 1,000 lives, or some line like that. It doesn't matter what you read. I've found over the years, especially with my own interests, with what I read, there is a book for every single person out there. I've had friends of mine say, I hate reading. I'm like, dude, read this. And they're like, oh crap, that was actually pretty good. So people who don't read definitely miss out on a little bit more excitement in their life, and I know that's probably not the right word to use, but there's something to be said for sitting down and reading and kind of shutting out the outside world, especially nowadays, man. Getting away from cell phones, computers, TVs, and just sitting and reading. I don't do enough reading outside of the store, because usually by the time I get home, I watch a cartoon and I fall asleep.
Yeah, I was going to say, I bet you're tired when you go home.
I usually crash out. But there's definitely something to be said for, picking up a book and just relaxing.
Yeah, and that's, being busy has certainly curtailed my reading. I love to read, but for some reason, that's the first thing that goes.
Yeah. Well, it's difficult, especially, I know I wear contacts. I see you wearing glasses. If I wear my contacts, I have to wear glasses. But my eyes will get tired from my daily activities throughout the day. Most days are about 7 a.m. to about 7 or 8 p.m. for me. And I do some reading in the store. I'm a news junkie. I read the news up, down, left, right from multiple sources throughout the day. So I do some form of reading throughout the day. But by the time I get home, crack me a beer, watch a cartoon, go to bed.
Yeah. I bet you sleep really well.
I do. Most of the time. Okay. Other times, my mind won't be on business when I get home. I lay in bed and suddenly, what do I got to do tomorrow? This. I'm like, shut up. Let me go to sleep. Edibles help.
Okay. I hear that.
Yeah, I must say, they do. It helps me sleep a little bit better.
Yeah, my wife has problems, and I don't have a problem. And I tell her, I said, because I'm exhausted, though. Not physically. I'm exhausted mentally.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's funny. My father could sleep through a freaking hurricane. And he slept through fire alarms when I was a kid. I remember that distinctly. My mother was a light sleeper, so I've got a little bit more of her light sleepiness and his mind racing without the ability to shut it off, which kind of sucks. But I get to sleep when I can.
So have you ever discovered something, because you deal with some used books here, right?
Mostly used books.
Okay. Have you ever discovered something inside a used book that that you say, wow? Or led you to have to do extra research?
We found in the books here a couple of the previous owner's personal effects. Every now and then we found some foreign currency, which was pretty cool. So we had to look into, actually one of the currency bills is going to be up on our board. We had to put it up as a souvenir. In my personal collection, I purchased a few over the years. Novels in parts is how they were published back in the 19th century. And so I picked up a couple of these pieces that are in parts. And I found a few business cards, handwritten business cards with people's name on it from like the 1840s, 1860s, 1880s. And then I dived deeper into it and tried to research who the guy was. I mean, this has now been a few years since I've even pulled that piece out of my collection to look at again, which pains me to say. But there's some cool stuff every now and then that you find in a book that just falls out from the previous owner.
Yeah, that's archaeology.
Yeah. And it's definitely digging through and seeing, the provenance of the piece. Who owned it? Where does this business card come from? I would imagine the business card in the piece was either the owner of the piece, or it was someone that he met when he purchased it, maybe, or when he was out and about. I'm talking about, the 1800s. So it's not like the guy took the phone number down of his, sales associate or the person who sold it to him. He had to get the information.
And it was handwritten.
Handwritten. And it was beautiful script. Yeah. That's the one thing that definitely, it's a dying art, is that the ability to script right like that.
You mentioned that your team tends to shoot from the hip because every day brings a new challenge.
We noticed from looking at other businesses that certain businesses that I've seen don't have plans or data, to be honest. So we really learn as we go. And it's been really exciting and fun. It's been a pain in the ass job, but it's been a lot of fun to do, because as soon as something comes up, we're like, okay, how do we deal with this? So a perfect example, we take special orders for customers. We write down their name, their phone number, what the book is, and the publisher. When we do our orders to the publishers, we add that to the list, we order it in, we contact them. Well, we use that on sticky notes on the side of our counter up there. It looks cool. It's a bookstore. Yeah. One fell through the cracks. The book came in. We didn't contact the person. They came in and asked if their book was in. It was, and we gave it to them, but we didn't contact them first. A big thing for me is customer satisfaction.
Yes.
They don't contact us. We contact them. So, okay, how do we deal with this? Well, let's come up with a spreadsheet. This is what we do. We build this plan, and we figure it out. So any new challenge that arises, what are we going to do about this, that, or the other? Me, John, and Joe sit down, discuss it, and figure out the best way to handle the issue, because it's always something. And it's usually unexpected crap like that. I wasn't expecting that to, be an issue, but there it is. We built our website from scratch. That was a nightmare. It was never ending. What do we do with this? What do we do with that? So it's really a kind of learn as you go, trial and error.
Yeah, because your website, I assume, has to be constantly updated.
Yeah, well, our website updates every night. So actually, we built all our systems from scratch as well and connected everything. So our website updates every night. A lot of our systems are constantly fluctuating, which gives me a freaking heart attack if any of them ever crashed on me. But knock on wood.
I hope you do backups.
As it happened, yeah, we do extensive backups.
Okay. So, because my truck is that's my off-site storage. Every day I swap out the disc that goes to the back of the truck, so just in case the house burns down.
No, yeah, you got to be safe with that type of stuff. Our data is always all backed up, because otherwise I would not sleep at all. Yeah. Ever. Well, that being said, though, too, it's a bookstore. We work with books. There was a lady who contacted me about picking up a collection of books out of a garage. The house was being sold. This was an agent friend of mine. There was mold in the house. That's my other nightmare, is that, I pick up a collection of books. At our warehouse, we have about 10,000 books on the floor, probably another 6,000 on the shelf. Any mold contamination gets on those books or books in here, there goes our whole stock of inventory. Yeah. We opened up with half the store empty. We struggled very hard and worked very hard to actually fill our shelves up with books, because we raced to open up. So, a lot of what you're seeing on the YA shelf that's sitting in front of us at the moment is brand new stuff that we've just recently got in to be able to get rid of some thinner material that we had there in the beginning. So that type of stuff will keep me up at night too.
Is this more of a bookstore or a place where the community meets?
A little bit of both. I was definitely surprised. I mean, I've seen it before at other bookstores that I would frequent, but at how many regulars we have. And I would say probably every single day throughout the day, there are people sitting on these back couches that we're sitting on. There's a chessboard here that people actually play chess back here. When I put the board out, it was kind of a gaffe. We have little bookmarks up here for people to color. That was just a grand opening thing. And we realized after the first week or two that people were actually coloring them and keeping them. So it definitely, we try to make sure that anyone at any time can come in, sit down and relax. It's Las Vegas, it's hot. Come in and sit down. It happens all the time. Get out of the damn heat, relax, sit in the back, read, link to our Wi-Fi. I don't care what you do. Get out of the heat. But of course, we're a business, so I got to sell books to stay open.
Yes.
So a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed my uncle was a barber, and his shop was about a half mile from the house. So I always walked down there. It was the same crowd in there talking politics and stuff, and and then I was at a friend's bookstore, Luminary, in Gardnerville, smaller town, and I was amazed while her and I were in there doing the podcast that just people came in, to say hi and sit and talk for a few minutes, and every now and then they'd buy a book. But so I was like thinking that, so a bookstore can be a barber shop.
Yeah, we get people in here chatting up all the time. It's a lot of fun talking about different books. I like it especially because I get different viewpoints on different books, and I see the wide range of material that people read. I've got people coming in buying strictly sci-fi fantasy. I've got a gentleman who comes in and strictly gets the history section. Manga, of course, does very well. People come in and strictly look for mysteries. I've been in sales since I was a very young kid, so I enjoy that kind of outward facing. If I had to sit in a cubicle all day long and top myself, no way could I do that.
Yeah, I sat in a cubicle all the time. But for some reason, I still loved what I did.
Well, so that's the other thing. If you love what you do, that's different. I was miserable in my old jobs, but at least they were sales, so forward facing. As much as an introvert that I am a people person.
I could tell that as soon as I met you outside. Your own staff, you say, comes from different backgrounds and viewpoints.
Yes.
Has that diversity made the bookstore stronger?
Very much so. Definitely this was a massive team effort, and we are very, very, very different people. It's allowed us to get multiple viewpoints on multiple aspects of what we do here in the store. Anywhere from what we stock in our inventory, people always ask, how do you curate what you have in the store? Well, it's like, that book looked cool. That cover looked cool.
Yeah.
That storyline looked kind of cool. Or donations come in. That looks cool. Put it up there. All the way to whatever tasks or issues that arise as far as functionality of the store goes, being able to get multiple viewpoints on how to deal with it. I'm a very analytical person. I want to see the data and I want to know the data and try to work out the problem as efficient as possible. My staff each have their specialties, so when we combine us three together, there's very little that we can't figure out. Might take some time, but it strengthens the store beyond belief, man. It's important, I think, to have a wide variety of viewpoints. One big thing that we did when we started up was make sure that our nonfiction sections were mixed up. So it's broken down by genre, but in each genre, it's mixed up. So if someone wants a World War II book, it's in our history section, with the goal of maybe they'll find something different that they like.
Okay.
In our religion section, religion and spirituality, do we want the Bible right next to, murder babies witchcraft book? Yes, we do.
Okay.
Someone might not like it. Someone might not like it, but they don't have to look at it.
But that's an option for someone else.
It's an option. We want to make sure that we have the options and the viewpoints here that represent everybody. And that's quite unpopular a lot of the times, but that's what literature to me is about. Freedom of speech protects the minority voices. Is that the phrase? Some phrase like that. It doesn't. It's not meant to protect the popular speech. It's meant to protect the unpopular speech.
Yes, it is.
So we want to make sure. And so our staff having different viewpoints and different backgrounds allows us to really make a stronger store and try to cater and make sure that we cater to everybody, which is important to us.
Your outside is very welcoming.
Yes.
There's a bookstore.
Thank you. Yeah.
And it's not Barnes and Noble.
Exactly.
It's a bookstore.
Yeah. Well, we've had people, our logo can be a little bit weird looking. And we've had people say, is this a demonic bookstore? I'm like, no, it's a bookstore. We got demon books. You need a witchcraft book? I got you. You want Wicca? What do you want? You want a sacrifice book? I got you. You want the Bible? I got you too. We're just a bookstore. We just sell books.
Well, I look at the outside when I came up here today, and it was, I could walk in here and I'm going to have a conversation with somebody. Okay. They're not going to sit behind and hide and let me come up and ask them about a book.
No.
They're going to say hi and we're going to talk about something. And I don't know what we're going to talk about yet.
But it's going to be
because look at all the stories here.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we definitely wanted to make it welcome. Well, actually, when we mapped out and designed the store, that was actually an ATM room up there where the front desk is.
Oh, okay.
We demoed it and put that there on purpose so when people walk in. And I'm very adamant about when we have more than 2 people here, there's 2 seats up front, the third person, usually myself, works on the couch. So we're forward-facing. We're a forward-facing company. We want people to be able to walk in and walk up to us and chat. And it happens all the time. So it's actually very nice. A little bit weird at first, but I've grown accustomed to it now.
Well, you don't know who's walking in the door.
Exactly.
But I tend to get excited about that. That's why I try to go out and get for the podcast. I try to get a wide range.
Well, there's a million stories in the Naked City. There's that author who wrote about New York back in the day.
Yeah.
That was one of the greatest things. When I moved out to Las Vegas, actually, I was a writer back then. And my idea was to become a taxi driver and get the stories from people and write a book like on Broadway. It didn't come to fruition, obviously, but...
You were a taxi driver.
I was not. No. I got a DUI before I could get my taxi driver license. So that dream went out the window. But, I lived and learned, there you go. But when I wrote Gonzo style, Hunter S. Thompson. Get out there, immerse yourself in the story, wake up the next morning, nurse the hangover, and write the story.
Steve and Josh, hope you don't mind me interrupting with one of my famous down under research breaks. First, let me say I am jealous that you get to spend the morning with Josh at Mad Red Books in Las Vegas. Most people hear Hunter S. Thompson and immediately think of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Outrageous Adventures, and gonzo journalism. But Josh's mention of Thompson made me curious about something else. How did Hunter S. Thompson actually learn to write? And underneath the larger-than-life personality, I found a writer who took words and the craft of writing remarkably seriously. Thompson started young. He wrote in high school, continued writing while serving in the Air Force, and worked for newspapers before establishing himself as a freelance writer. He later recalled realizing by about 15 that writing was something he could do particularly well. And here's one of my favorite stories about him. As a young writer, Thompson reportedly retyped the work of writers he admired, including F. Scott Fitzgerald. He wanted to experience the rhythm of great sentences coming through his own fingers to get a physical sense of how good writing was constructed. Eventually, of course, Thompson developed a voice that sounded like nobody but Hunter S. Thompson. Fast, personal, funny, angry, observant, sometimes completely chaotic. With gonzo journalism, Thompson didn't stand politely outside the story reporting what happened. He climbed right into the middle of it. The reporter became part of the story. That approach became famous with Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which grew from assignments for Rolling Stone and became one of the defining examples of Thompson's strange mixture of journalism, memoir, exaggeration, and literary storytelling. But here's the part one think writers might find surprising. The apparent craziness wasn't necessarily careless writing. Thompson thought seriously about structure, research, voice, and how to make the reader experience what he had experienced. His correspondence shows him wrestling with how to combine reporting, personal involvement, and narrative into something that actually worked on the page. And underneath all of it was something rather simple. Pay attention, look closely enough at a person, a place, or an event that you can make somebody who wasn't there feel as though they were. Steve, I suspect that's the part of Hunter S. Thompson's writing that might interest you most, because despite the differences in style, there is a familiar idea hiding underneath it. Notice things, then tell us what you noticed in a voice that belongs to you. So Josh, thanks for bringing up Hunter S. Thompson. You gave me something interesting to investigate. Okay, Steve, research break over. Back to you and Josh.
And it worked for a while. My first business was an online magazine back in 2009. I think we made $50 the whole time I ran that thing for 3 years before I shut it down. So like you said, there's just so many stories, so many different variety of people out there. I travel a lot. I love to be engaged with what I don't expect to see. To get your the viewpoint thrown back in your face is a comforting feeling sometimes, to realize you don't know everything.
Do you travel to buy books?
Yes, I go to Boston, I go to New York, and I go to California for the book shows. Whenever I go anywhere else, I typically pick up a book from somewhere. We were in Europe a few years back, and in Venice, there's the bar that created some drink, and so we went to this bar, and they, of course, had the book about the drink in the bar, so I bought the book. Oh yeah, so I like, it's I have to have a lot of self-control when I travel, or I'll pack up my suitcase with books. A friend of mine just picked up a library in Texas, and he lives in New York. And so I was just talking to him this morning, and he's like, yeah, we're on our way back. I'm like, you driving, right? He's like, yeah. Drive safe, man. Let me know. So I don't want to get into that situation where I have to rent a U-Haul. Not yet.
Well, are there books in here that you can't sell? Yeah, because they're yours. You don't want to sell them.
Oh, my books. Oh, I don't bring.
Or are they home?
They're home, man. They're home. I brought one piece in. I have a Thomas Jefferson, James Madison signed patent from 1808 up there for sale. $25,000. We're taking offers all day long. My specialty is the rare books, and we're trying to move more towards having more rare books in the store. We actually have a mentor program with the ABAA, the Antiquary and Booksellers Association of America at the moment. So we were able to land that. Our goal here is to be an ABAA member and focus more on the specialty and the rare books. So yeah, I have a hard time bringing my personal collection in here to sell.
Okay, I just wondered maybe you put like a high price on it.
The Jefferson Madison is $25,000. That's high for that piece.
Because I've learned with the art gallery, if I don't want to sell something, then I put a price on there that nobody's going to buy.
So funny enough, I was in New York last time with a friend of mine named John Resnikoff from University Archives, and he has Al Capone's pistol, and he has it listed for $1 million. And so to show him, like, hey, I'm going to go talk to the, Mom Museum here in Vegas, let me see what I can do. He's like, yeah, I got to really stop putting stuff for sale that I'm not going to sell. Like, that's why it's $1 million. That thing is not worth $1 million. It's a cool Capone gun, but it's not $1 million. He doesn't want to sell it.
That's it.
So, I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah, so there's always a number. There's always a number. Excuse me, even my most precious item in my collection, which is very, very important to me, there's definitely a number that I'd sell it for. I would probably never find the piece again, but I'd buy something cooler.
Yeah. So, and you mentioned it earlier about you support the local high school. You also support organizations like Peggy's Attic. Why is community involvement important to you?
We're a bookstore, and so it's easy for bookstores, or any business for that matter, to say that they're community-oriented and that they're community-focused and they do stuff for the community. It's a lot more difficult to actually do that type of stuff. Beyond the cost of it, getting out there and engaging, creating the connections with different people, but it makes us stronger, and I would like to think that it makes the other side stronger as well. Whether it be sponsoring the Coronado High School football team, so hopefully they win this year, to helping out with this wine and paint business that's in town, that then they do events to promote people to bring in books to donate, and then they bring the donated books to us.
Oh, okay.
So there's a lot of stuff to do, and it just is important, because we want to make sure that we have a footprint in the city. And it's difficult to have a footprint if you're invisible. Friends of mine who have businesses, who have organizations that we can support, I definitely want to help them out as much as possible. We're sponsoring a 9/11 memorial hockey game that's going to be on 9/11 here at Las Vegas Ice Center in Las Vegas, and a bunch of my friends are veterans, so that's important to me. So there's stuff that needs to be to the forefront as much as possible when we're able to.
Before we get back to today's episode, I'd like to take a moment to tell you about the 2 new books that have recently found their way into the world. The Art of Noticing is a collection of observations, essays, and reflections inspired by years of photography, podcast conversations, travel, public lands, and the simple practice of paying attention. It's a reminder that wonder is often hiding in plain sight if we slow down long enough to notice. My newest release, Sandcastle Windows, is my first work of fiction, set between present-day Nevada and the Paris art world of the 1870s. It explores a question that has fascinated me for years. What if you could step inside a future memory? It's a story about art, friendship, time, and the moments that shape our lives long before we realize their importance. Both books share a common thread, the belief that ordinary moments often become the memories we treasure most. To learn more about The Art of Noticing and Sandcastle Windows and my other children's books, visit my Amazon author page. And now let's get back to the art box. When you open up a box of donated books or books you've bought and you don't know what's in there, is there excitement?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. It's like a treasure hunt, man. And every now and then we find them.
Yeah.
So, dude, I get a donated box in and I'm going through it, and suddenly I come across some $600 or $700 book. Beyond the monetary value of it, we're all book people here. So, me and my staff, we came to an understanding early on that if we get a box of donated books in and we see something that we might want, we talk it over and take it.
Okay.
You know, if it's something that has a high chance of selling and it's a higher value item, you know, maybe $50 or $100, give it a chance to sell. And if it doesn't sell, cost plus one. If it's a donated book, very, very inexpensive. I mean, we all have libraries of our own here. So at least once every week or two, something comes across our desk. They're like, oh, I want that. I'm taking it. It's one of the perks of the job.
Oh, sure. If there's that book, are you okay if you go read it first?
Yes.
Before you put it on the
I've done that.
shelf?
I've done that a few times. Oh, yeah. Came across something that I wanted to read, picked it up, read it, and then I would inventory it and put it out on the shelf. And I try to read a variety of subjects nowadays, too. You know, since I'm the owner, I want to make sure if someone comes in and says, I need a good romance, I need to be able to know XYZ romance is what it is, and this one is that. So I kind of jump around. It's nothing better than picking up a book, reading it, either enjoying it or not, and making some money off of it.
5 years from now, what do you hope people say about your bookstore?
We have a lot of cool stuff. We're building more and more every day. We're getting better and better inventory every day, and we try to cater to what our customers want. We try to take recommendations about what they would like us to order in. We keep our eye out for lots of books, estate sales, auctions, stuff like that. So I hope they say that we have some really cool stuff.
Are you enjoying what you're doing right now? No, I was talking to him.
No, I don't. I'm wondering what he's going to say.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just watching you put the books in. I'm like, see, I would have a hard time. Although you work here, it's a job. Well, maybe not a job, but I would be like, oh, what's next to it? Oh, I got to pull that out. Then I want to take it home and read it. And
There's times where we've had staff that are looking through, especially when we're working on inventory, because you come across some cool stuff. Like, oh, that's cool, and it takes 5 minutes to inventory a book. When it should take 1 minute. Like, okay, guys, inventory it first and then look at it. But we also are very hands-on here. We try to make sure that we engage with the shelves throughout the day, actually, John, would you say?
Yeah.
So most of the stuff that we see when we're putting books away like he is right now, we've seen before. So we've already had a chance to kind of browse through it. He's a big sci-fi fantasy guy, so I'm sure if I got a Jurassic Park first edition in, he'd jump on it. We'd have to...
Well, if it's signed, I have one already. It's the first edition.
Oh, you want the signed one?
If there's a signed one, yeah.
I'll joust you for it. We've talked about doing jousting down the middle aisle.
yes, you could
Just
you?
for fun, yeah.
You may need more than 36 inches.
You know, it's you just keep the shoulders in, you know, tuck it up, tuck it down.
So I guess a signed book. So if you get a baseball card signed, I think that takes down the value, right?
Well, baseball cards,
But not a book.
not a book though. No, books usually go up in value when they're signed. Oh yeah. Not to mention just a sentimental connection to the book that the author actually signed it. Some of my documents, my personal collection, are actual physical documents. And why I like them so much is because 200 years ago or something like that, someone sat this piece of paper down and wrote on it.
Yes, they did.
And that's the fascinating thing to me about literature and about books. I mean, when the Odyssey just came out, that book is 2,000 years old or something like that, and they just made a movie out of it. The ability for books to exist for amazingly long periods of time. And how much literature has been lost to the ages. That's another fun thing for me to think about.
Yeah, what was it? The library of Alexandria.
Alexandria, exactly. Yeah. I mean, there's just, and honestly, we're still very early in our ability to search for lost materials. What was the Dead Sea Scrolls? You can't tell me that there aren't more collections of ancient writings in these very dry areas of the world. There's also a lot of space out there, and not a whole lot of people who have the time or the money to look for it. I've been fascinated I've had a couple political science students from UNLV working on their masters come in. We're talking about political science. We're talking about different theories and writers. And the guys talk in circles around me. It's amazing how little I know about a lot. There's just a lot out there to read, a lot out there to learn.
Yeah, well, you have to kind of decide which way you're going to go, because there's a lot of times that squirrel, and I want to go that way.
Exactly.
But do I have time to go that way?
Exactly. Now, I will say that having the bookstore now allows me to continuously learn. Problem with that is that I read very light material here because usually I'm working on something. I'm doing something. I very rarely have time to sit down and read what I like to read. I like to read the old classic literature. I like to read history and theory book, but I can't sit here and focus on a book about political theory when every 5 minutes I have to stand up and help a customer do something. So as I have more reading time at home, I hope to get more into that type of stuff. But
I'm trying to think of your bookstore. If I'm up there and I'm looking down at your bookstore, and there's all this knowledge right here. All right, but then there's all these strings that are going out all over the place because people are picking up knowledge here and they're taking it over there.
Yeah.
And then that place becomes a hub. And then there's more strings out of there. And so you're helping spread knowledge.
We hope we do. We hope we do.
You just don't know it. We don't know everything.
Exactly. You can't know everything. You can't be omnipresent.
But think of the good that you guys are doing overall. A lightning round?
Sure.
Hardcover or paperback?
Paperback.
Fiction or nonfiction?
Nonfiction.
Favorite used bookstore find?
John Milton Poetical Works.
Book you've read more than once?
Count of Monte Cristo.
Coffee or tea while reading?
Coffee.
Most underrated author?
Clive Cussler.
Okay. Most overrated book?
Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Oh, they got a smile.
I haven't read it yet, but we can't keep it on the shelf.
Oh, really? If you could have dinner with any author, alive or dead, who would it be?
Hunter S. Thompson.
And one book everyone should own?
Common Sense by Thomas Paine.
Okay. And one word that describes reading?
Pleasurable.
Okay. So let's go back to that one, because that shouldn't be in here. If you could have dinner with any author, who would it be? So why?
Hunter S. Thompson?
Yeah.
I love his writing. I love the way he was. He was very, very talented. And I like the fact that what a lot of people might see when they look at his type of stuff and the way his personality was just some drug addict piece of crap. Well, if you actually read his material, he was a very talented writer. And his ability to do what he did in such excess and still produce an amazing piece of work and amazing writing, as well as political commentary. I'd love to sit down and pick his brain. I missed my chance.
If you could pick any time in his life, would you pick early, before he became known, midway, or at the end?
I'd probably say midway. Probably the 70s when the Nixon-Watergate scandal was going on, because him and Nixon had a running feud. And so I loved the way that he dealt with that. So it's kind of post-Summer of Love. I would have loved to take the acid then, but with him. But so he had a little bit more of a base at that point. Fascinating guy.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that.
Of course.
Do you ever pat yourself on the back and say, because a lot of us have, I know I do, imposter syndrome. So do you ever do something and it's hard, pat yourself on the back and say, Josh, that was pretty darn good?
I'll pat myself on the back after this. Every now and then, yeah. I'm not very comfortable with compliments or with patting myself on the back. It was always, oh, you did that? Good job. Now do something else. Work harder. Do this. Work harder. When we're making $1 million a year and I can...
Okay.
Then I'll pat myself on the back. Give me about a decade, hopefully.
We might as well talk about AI.
Yeah.
Where does AI fit in? Let's start off with, where does AI fit in with how you manage your bookstore?
So, funny enough, I was having a conversation with my manager yesterday regarding this. Our IT guy is an AI programmer. So we use him in order to have ticklers. He uses AI spiders and stuff like that to go through his emails to search out tasks, to automate stuff that he has to do for his clients. So, for instance, if I have to move a stack of books from the store to the warehouse or vice versa, before we set up this program, we had to do it manually. Now we take the book, we put the item number into a Excel spreadsheet, we send it to his email that he has set up designated for this type of stuff. Spider picks it up, does the change. So being able to use AI software for our background office management frees up time for us to do more important stuff. If we're sitting here for 3 hours, which is what it would take to move boxes from location A to location B, and I just shrank that 3 hours to half an hour, that gives me 2.5 hours to find more books, to research more books, inventory more books. I'm hesitant to allow too much AI functionality in our own programs for the simple fact that how many AI programs went rogue recently. I don't need an AI program looking at my inventory and erasing the whole damn thing.
Yes.
But I would prefer to keep it as using it as a tool to make our life easier in the business management side, not the design side. We don't ever design any of our ads or flyers using AI. You can tell if a flyer is made by AI and it looks like shit. So and the other thing too is that people back when you used Adobe and Photoshop, you built up the skill over time. Your projects got better and better because you learned more and more of the software. If you type into AI, create a flyer, XYZ, blah, 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 you ain't learning nothing. Trying to keep the human component of the bookstore while making our lives easier in the background using AIs allows us to do more for our customers up front.
Yeah, it's a great tool.
A lot of the data that we mine. So when we set up everything, we set it up where I could print out a report right now that shows exactly how many books in each genre that we sold last week, last month, last hour. We could see all of our data. So to be able to use that data, we need to be able to compress it and analyze it as best as possible. So we're just now, perfect example of shooting from the hip. Oh crap, it's taking us 3 hours to move books from A to B. Well, let's create a program to do it. We came up with the program, figured out how to do it, how to tell the computer to do it. The IT guy puts it into play, saves us time. But using it to make our lives easier on the business side. I don't want to ever use it for writing anything that we do. If we can't come up with a good catchphrase, we can't come up with a good catchphrase. End of discussion. So we have to work harder on it and figure it out. So being able to kind of utilize it to our advantage without letting it make us lazy or untalented. It takes a lot of work to become a skilled artist. You do that work and then you put it online, then AI's plagiarizing what you've done. And I don't know, people say, you can stop that. I don't think you can. You can't stop it. If your work's online, it's fair game. It's fair game. Well, actually, funny enough, the World Wide Web went live 35 years ago yesterday. I'm a news junkie, and I think it was yesterday or the day before that World Wide Web went live. It's an open source world. We're very, very adamant about allowing people access to information. You got to take the good with the bad. Do you have any other interest? You're a football fan for the local football team. Yeah, Coronado High School and the Redskins. I'm not even going to say what their new name is. I won't get into that one. I like sports. I like cars. I like sports cars a lot. Driving fast, going fast, stuff like that. On tracks. Not on the roads, on tracks. Have you been to the track? Perot? Yeah, my dad was a member there for a while. I would go up there with him quite often. He raced amateur for a long time. Okay. So he was a big car guy. Unfortunately, as I've gotten older, me and my father have noticed, each of us, that we're more alike than either of us would like to admit. Yeah, that happens. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like food. There's no lack of good restaurants in Las Vegas, and I love food. Sushi I had last night was amazing. Hockey's a big one for me. I used to play hockey. I played college hockey for a few years. I played the beer leagues out here all the way up until when we opened. I just didn't have time to keep playing, so played all the way into my late 30s. Just because we've gone that way, who's your favorite Washington Capitals player? Chris Simon. from the 90s.
Okay.
He was the enforcer back then. I was a defensive player. I loved the enforcers. Reeves, that when we had him here at the Knights, but Chris Simon from the 90s Capitals.
Okay.
Yourself?
Probably Rod Langway.
Okay.
You know, he was such, he was like poetry. You know, when you see Rod Langway backing up on a rush, it was like poetry.
Yep. Yep. Do you remember Dale Hunter, too?
Oh, yeah.
God, now the names are starting to come back.
Dale Hunter came along and really gave him a boost.
Yeah, exactly. That was when I was in my early teens. Yeah, that was in the 90s when I really got into hockey, was around then. Yeah. Go Caps, go.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can't tell you the last time I've seen a Caps game. Okay, well, Josh, I appreciate this. I love this bookstore.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you having me on, man. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and this is fun.
Of course. Thank you, man. Thank you.
And that's a wrap for this episode of the Artbox Podcast. We're recording from our home studio inside the Mesquite Steam Center, right here in the beautiful Mojave Desert, where creativity and curiosity meet under wide open skies. From the written word and poetry to collage, brush art, pencil, ink, fabric, and pottery, from theater and song to archaeology in our public lands, we celebrate the many ways creativity shows up in the world around us. You can find us on Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Boomplay, or your favorite podcast app. We'd love to hear from you. Find us at theartboxpodcast.com. Drop us a note anytime at artboxvv@gmail.com. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please like, follow, and subscribe. And don't forget to tell your friends so they can join the conversation too. Most importantly, take a moment to follow and support the artists and creative souls who join us here, because their stories are what make the Artbox come alive. This is Daisy, and until next time, keep creating, keep exploring, and keep sharing your story.